My dear brothers and sisters, today's gospel is from Mark chapter 11, 27 to 33. The context is Jesus is walking in front of the temple. There is the last week of Jesus' life on earth. It is soon after, 2 days after Jesus cleansed the temple. So the Jewish authorities come to Jesus and ask him, what is the authority with which you do these things? That is, cleansing of the temple, his triumphant entry into the temple, and his teaching. In Mark's Gospel, there are several occasions, in fact, 11 to 12 occasions when Jesus enters into conflict with the Jewish authorities. Way back in Galilee, at least 5 occasions there are which Mark records where Jesus entered into conflict with the Jewish authorities. It was all based on the Torah. Jesus' interpretation and his actions with regard to the Torah was not acceptable to the Jewish authorities. For example, Jesus forgave the sin of the paralytic who was brought to Jesus. He healed on a Sabbath day. He allowed the disciples to eat from the corn on the wayside on a Sabbath day, so on and so forth. So the Jewish authorities were not able to agree with what Jesus was doing. And now in Jerusalem, they're asking the authority with which Jesus cleansed the temple and triumphantly entered into the temple and taught and so on and so forth. So Jesus asked them one question, tell me this one answer and then I will tell you where I got the authority to do these things. He asked, where did the teaching of John the Baptist come from? From God or from man? So they debated among themselves. They were not actually genuine with regard to searching for the truth. They did not even want to know where real authority of Jesus came from. They wanted to justify themselves. They wanted to play safe before the people. So they just escaped the question. They said, we do not know. Jesus said, I will not tell you either. I will not tell you what authority do I have to do these things. My dear brothers and sisters, what is the takeaway for us? First of all, Jesus has the authority. Jesus has the authority to interpret the Torah, interpret the Jewish law, interpret the word of the Old Testament. He is God. He is the authority from God. He is God himself. We must submit ourselves to his authority. Secondly, we must have a very genuine approach towards searching for truth and living by the truth. Saint Peter says, there is something that we heard on Thursday. He says, you are newborn and like babies, you should be hungry for nothing but milk, the spiritual honesty which will help you to grow up to salvation. That is what it is. We must have a spiritual honesty. We must honestly search for truth. Wherever truth is found, we must search for it. We must live according to it as much as we can. And these are the 2 things I would like to place before you today. First of all, that Jesus is the authority. You must try to understand his teaching and follow, whether we understand or do not understand, whatever he teaches, because he is the authority that comes from God. Secondly, we must approach truth. We must approach the words of Jesus with humility. Wherever truth is found, we must be willing to search for it and live it. Thank you.